First tonight at 6:30, people in a small town in northern Arizona are getting sick, some dying, and they blame two former industrial sites.
Arizona's Family Investigates has followed the fight to get one of them cleaned up for 2 years. Amy Cutler explains what's behind the delays and what it could mean for other sites.
High levels of arsenic, lead, I had cyanide, beryllium.
That toxic mix of chemicals was found on the property Brittany Duncan calls home. She moved from Phoenix to Dewey-Humboldt to give her kids a better life.
And at this point, are you letting your kids play on the land?
They do play. I mean, they're little kids. It's hard to contain them inside all the time.
80 miles north of Phoenix sits the town of Dewey-Humboldt. Driving along State Route 69, it's easy to miss the downtown, but it's much harder to miss this giant orange pile of dirt.
It's very windy here, and the wind takes that contamination far.
That pile is actually millions of tons of waste, what's left of the Iron King mine. While it's been closed for nearly 60 years, the Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA, found that waste has made its way onto hundreds of neighboring properties. But that mine is only part of the problem. On the other side of town sits the former Humboldt smelter.
It's frustrating because
Bruce Woodhall lives next to it.
Looking at the property from your house, what goes through your mind?
failure, complete failure.
The EPA designated all this a Superfund site, meaning it's polluted with hazardous materials, adding it to the priorities list in 2008. They've tested and cleaned up neighboring properties 3 separate times and took down the smelter, but never addressed either industrial site.
Arizona's family is investigating a toxic mine in our state that's making...
We first reported on this nearly a year ago.
Investigator Amy Cutler found mounting frustration as more people keep getting sick.
That's when we met Ashley Preston. For 2 decades, she's tracked sick neighbors on this map.
A lot of these, we're seeing brain cancer and liver cancer up in this area.
Green dots represent people who died from cancer. Pink for those that currently have cancer.
There's probably 20 more people since I've completed this that need to be added on to it.
She helped organize neighbors and continues to keep the pressure on the state and EPA to make good on its promise to clean it up.
It's definitely frustrating for the community.
What's the holdup? The EPA took us onto the former Iron King mine site. Michelle Rogo is the supervisor for Superfund sites in Arizona.
When we last talked, you had mentioned that residential cleanup was supposed to start in early 2025. Here we are in May 2025. That still hasn't started.
Yeah, and we understand that. We were disappointed in ourselves, but we also realized that we took on a little bit more we had originally planned.
They want to test 500 properties. They need each homeowner to agree to it again. Rogo says so far about half of them have.
Our goal is to really figure out what parts of the property are impacted by these contaminants from the mine, and then put a plan together.
Each property is different, but Rogo says the plan will include removing contaminated dirt and replacing it.
We found about 50% of the properties that we've sampled to need some type of cleanup level on those residential properties.
The EPA is also designing 2 structures to hold all the waste. One at the old mine, another at the smelter.
This is the only mine site in Arizona that's on the national priorities list. It is probably the largest contaminated site in all of the entire state.
But here's the concern. While $35 million has been set aside to remove the waste, no money has been allocated for storing it. This comes as the Trump administration scrutinizes government spending, which has led to major cuts to the EPA. Dewey-Humboldt is one of 9 Superfund sites in Arizona so hazardous and dangerous that it's on the national priorities list. We asked the head of the EPA what these cuts could mean for the cleanup.
I want to see more resources behind Superfund work.
The state and Rogo back that up.
Right now, we're not seeing any impacts to any of the work on any of the sites.
Rogo and her team held another open house for homeowners last week, urging them to allow testing.
Walking away today, do you feel more confident that this cleanup is going to happen?
No. Until you see that first truck come in, and they're bringing actual contractors in.
They're looking at this as like a 10-year project moving forward. Yeah, 10 years is a long
It's a long time. It's better than no years, you know? I just want it done.
Now, Rogo says they are now hoping to start cleaning up neighbors' properties early next year. That contaminated dirt will then be moved onto the Superfund sites themselves. But just designing those repositories or holding cells is expected to take 2 to 3 years.
Boy, that's a lot of money. You were talking about that $35 million figure, and we heard the EPA administrator says he's looking for more money for Superfund sites, but his department is facing major cuts.
Exactly.
So where's the money coming from?
Yeah, and that is a big challenge associated with this, especially when you consider that the companies that own the mine and smelter have long since closed. It's the EPA that will be paying the bill. It will likely cost hundreds of millions of dollars to do the entire project, but the goal here is to finally get this done so the EPA does not have to come back.
You promised you'd stay on top of it, so Amy, thank you for doing the follow-up for all those families.